I just need to get this off my chest because I feel like I'm going insane. I, 31F, live in New Orleans. I own my home. I've got a steady job in logistics. Nothing glamorous, but it pays the bills. My younger sister, Alyssa, 28F, has been living in my basement for the past 5 months, rent-free. She's had, no joke, 7 jobs in the last 3 years. Moved back in with our parents twice. Crashed with friends. Now she's here. She contributes nothing. She spends her days on TikTok, doing whatever MLM scheme she's currently obsessed with, and going out every weekend like she's some kind of influencer. And the kicker? My mom posted a pic on Facebook yesterday of Alyssa standing in front of my house, wine glass in hand, captioned, "Our baby girl starting her next chapter in New Orleans. So proud of this bold, beautiful soul chasing her dreams in the Big Easy." Not a single word about me. Not even a mention that it's my house. Just Alyssa, standing in front of my door like she's the queen of her own fairy tale. I've never been the favorite. Not once. I could have cured cancer, and my mom would still find a way to post about how Alyssa once sang backup in a local production of Mamma Mia. Anyway, thanks for letting me vent. I'm tired of pretending this doesn't eat me alive. I hovered over the delete button after I hit post. Then I clicked away. Then back. Read the post again. Wondered if it was too dramatic, if I'd come off bitter. But something in me wouldn't let me delete it. That's been the pattern of my whole life. Minimize, internalize, apologize. Not this time. It was late when I wrote it. The kind of late where you can hear the buzz of silence between the cicadas outside and the hum of the air conditioning kicking on. Alyssa was out. Again. Probably at some rooftop bar pretending she lived in the French Quarter and not in her older sister's basement in mid-city. I closed my laptop and lay back on my couch, staring at the ceiling fan spinning overhead, trying to remember when I stopped being the daughter and started being the backup plan. The worst part wasn't the wine glass or the post or even the fawning comments from our aunts and cousins. It was that tiny click in my chest when I read it. That microscopic crack that never heals because every time I think maybe, just maybe, they'll see me, they double down on the myth of Alyssa. And I let her in. I told myself it was temporary, just a month or 2. I had the space. She needed time to get back on her feet. The usual story. But 5 months later, she's still here. And now she's got a social media storyline crafted by our mother, turning my actual life into her fantasy backdrop. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That post wasn't the beginning. Just the part where I stopped swallowing it whole. You'd think a parent would notice when their kid went silent. I was 13 the first time I realized Alyssa could do no wrong. She was 10, standing barefoot on the kitchen counter, wearing one of my old Halloween costumes, a tattered fairy dress, and pouring an entire bottle of sprinkles into her mouth like a scene from some chaotic kids' movie. I had just cleaned the counters. Just. I was trying to earn extra allowance to buy myself a new sketchbook, and my mom had said if I helped out more, she'd consider it. She walked into the kitchen, saw the mess, and gasped. But it wasn't the angry kind of gasp. "Oh, look at her," she laughed, pulling out her phone to take a picture. "My little sugar fairy." She posted it to Facebook with some caption like, "Alyssa the sweet-toothed dreamer. Life is never boring with this one," and then told me to stop being uptight when I asked if I'd still get credit for cleaning. It's burned into my brain. Not because of the sprinkles, but because I saw something that day I never unsaw. Alyssa could make a mess and be rewarded for the chaos. I could clean it up and still be invisible. It wasn't just sprinkles. It was school, too. I graduated 3rd in my class. Alyssa dropped out of college after her 2nd semester. My parents framed her high school diploma and put it over the mantel because she hated school so much. It's a miracle she even made it through. When I got promoted at work last year, my mom didn't even remember the name of my company. But when Alyssa worked as a hostess at some upscale fusion place in Baton Rouge, my dad bragged that she was basically running the front of house. They saw potential in her like it was a religion. like every misstep was just a chapter in her redemption story. And me? I was the reliable one, the one who didn't need anything, the one who handled it, cleaned up, got the job, paid the bills, quietly. I didn't even hate Alyssa for it back then. Not really. She was magnetic in a way I wasn't. I was sharp edges and ambition. She was soft charm and puppy eyes. People forgave her before she even messed up. She floated through life, and I kept the air around her stable. But years of that, years of being treated like the background character in your own family, it builds up, quietly, layer by layer. And then one day, you're 31, sitting in your own house, watching your parents praise your sister's independence, while she raids your fridge and maxes out your toilet paper. She's not the villain. Not yet. But she's been rehearsing the role for a long, long time. It started with a phone call. Of course it did. I was in the checkout line at Rouse's, grabbing groceries after work, milk, eggs, cheap wine, stuff for a quiet weekend. My phone buzzed, and I saw Mom flash across the screen. I answered out of reflex. "Sweetie," she said, using that sing-song tone she reserves for asking favors she's already decided I'll say yes to. "Are you busy this weekend?" I said I had some projects around the house. She sighed like I told her I'd joined a cult. "Well, Alyssa just lost her job. Again. You know that awful office she was at? They were toxic. And her lease is up. It's been such a hard year for her." I knew what was coming. I could feel it in my teeth. She just needs a place for a little while, a few weeks, maybe a month, just to catch her breath. I didn't answer right away. I scanned my groceries, tapped my card. The cashier didn't make eye contact. She probably sensed the same thing I did. This wasn't a request. It was a package being dropped off. I was just the mailbox. "I guess that's fine," I muttered. "Oh, thank you, baby. I knew you'd understand. You're always so grounded, so stable." I wanted to scream. Instead, I said, "Tell her to text me." Alyssa didn't text. She showed up 2 days later in a U-Haul she didn't return for 3 weeks. I'd cleared out the basement guest space a while back, mostly for storage, but I cleaned it out again, bought fresh sheets, made sure the bathroom worked. I told myself I was being kind. Family takes care of each other, right? The first week, she was on her best behavior, brought home coffee for me one morning, did a load of dishes, said thank you at least twice. I let myself believe it might be different this time. Then she settled in. Her sleep schedule shifted to somewhere between feral raccoon and college freshman. Her latest job was selling skincare through some pyramid scheme she found on Instagram. She took Zoom calls in full makeup, ring light blinding through the basement window, telling strangers they could build their own dream life. Meanwhile, I was waking up at 6:30 every morning, driving through New Orleans traffic, clocking into a job where I manage freight logistics for companies that don't know my name. And she was downstairs live streaming her way to nowhere. The fridge started emptying faster. Packages started arriving with my name on them, but her stuff inside. I'd get home from work and find wine glasses in the bathroom, wigs on the kitchen counter, glitter in the laundry. But I didn't say anything. Not yet. Because that's what I'd been trained to do. Keep the peace. Hold the weight. Be the stable one. The worst part was, every time my mom called, she'd say things like, "I'm so glad Alyssa has you," or, "You're such a good sister." But she never once asked how I was doing. Not once. I was in the kitchen doing dishes when I got the notification. "Mom tagged you in a photo." It stopped me mid-scrub. I dried my hands on a towel, opened the app, and my stomach turned before I even saw the image. There was Alyssa, barefoot on the front porch, holding a glass of red wine like it was a prop from a real estate ad. The caption read, "Our baby girl starting her next chapter in New Orleans. So proud of this bold, beautiful soul chasing her dreams in the big easy. New beginnings, Dern proud mom, done NOLA adventures." No mention that it was my porch. No mention that she lived in my basement. Just Alyssa, striking a pose with my front door behind her, like this was her house, and she was starring in some Netflix reboot of Eat, Pray, Love. I clicked the photo, saw the likes climbing past 70, the comments from our aunts and cousins. She's glowing! Your girls are doing so well. So proud of both of them. Both? She hadn't even tagged me. I wasn't in the photo. I was the damn landlord. I stared at the screen until my vision blurred. Then I reread it. Again and again. It didn't change. I thought about commenting. Something sharp. Actually, this is my house. Or maybe just a sarcastic, glad I could provide the backdrop. But I didn't. Because I could hear my mom's voice already. You're overreacting. Why are you always so negative? Don't ruin her moment. So instead, I screenshotted it. Sent it to my friend Cam with no caption. Just the image. He replied in under a minute. Cam? Oh hell no, Cam. She posted that without your permission? Cam, she acting like she owns your house now? I put my phone down, turned off the water, and just stood there. Not sad, not even angry, just tired. Like something inside me had been running a marathon I never signed up for, and this was the moment it sat down on the sidewalk and said, I'm done. Later that night, Alyssa came home around 1 a.m., heels clicking on the hardwood like she owned every inch of it. I was still awake, couldn't sleep. I heard her humming upstairs, probably buzzed, tossing her purse on the counter. She didn't say goodnight, didn't ask how my day was. She never asked. And for the first time in my adult life, I felt a thought that scared me. What if I just kicked her out? What if I stopped being the stable one? I didn't sleep that night, but I did write the Reddit post. I needed to put it somewhere. There's a kind of quiet rage that builds when you share your space with someone who doesn't see you. Not the explosive kind. No screaming, no door slamming. Just that slow, pulsing kind of resentment that sticks to your ribs and makes everything feel heavier. Living with Alyssa is like that. She doesn't clean. Not in a she's messy way. I mean, she literally acts like trash bins are just optional. I once found an empty protein shake container on the bathroom floor next to a wet towel and an earring. No explanation. Just her version of interior design, I guess. She forgets to buy groceries, which means she eats mine. Whole containers of hummus, all the oat milk, the leftover curry I explicitly labeled. And when I mention it, oh, my bad. I didn't think you'd miss it. Or worse. I was gonna Instacart more tomorrow, chill. She never Instacarts anything. One night I came home late. After a 12-hour shift stuck troubleshooting a shipping error that wasn't my fault, and the house reeked of incense and essential oils. Alyssa was upstairs hosting what she called a self-alignment circle with 2 girls I'd never met. They were sprawled out on yoga mats in my living room, drinking herbal tea out of my wine glasses. I stood there, in my work clothes, bag still on my shoulder, watching these women laugh and chant like they were on a retreat in Sedona. Alyssa waved at me mid-ritual and whispered, "Do you mind grabbing headphones? We're doing sound work." She didn't even ask if I wanted to join, didn't notice I looked like I was 1 email away from a breakdown. So I went to my room, closed the door. Cried in the dark while she hosted a moon goddess ceremony 10 feet from my bedroom. That's the thing about Alyssa. Her presence expands to fill every corner. Her voice is the loudest in any room, even when she's not saying anything worth hearing. And you feel it, even in the silence. Like you're not alone, but you're lonelier because of it. The day after the alignment circle, I found one of her friends upstairs again, rummaging through the fridge. "Oh, hey," she said. "Alyssa said I could grab some snacks." She didn't even make eye contact. That was the first time I said something real. I told Alyssa later that night, "You need to stop letting people into my house without asking. I don't care if they're your friends. This is my space." She blinked at me like I'd spoken a foreign language. Then she laughed. "You're so intense," she said. "It's just food. Chill." And just like that, I became the uptight one again. The buzzkill. The villain in the sitcom of her life. I started keeping a journal, not for therapy, just to remind myself that I wasn't crazy. Every time she used my stuff, invited people over, left the basement a mess, skipped her turn for trash, I wrote it down. Not out of pettiness, but because I needed a record. Something real to point to when she eventually cried to our mom that I was being unfair. I knew what was coming. The next blow-up wasn't far off. It started like every other Sunday. Coffee brewing, laundry in the machine, me pretending I wasn't holding back a scream. I had spent the morning cleaning up glitter from the bathroom counter. Again. There was pink shimmer powder on the toilet seat. That's when I decided I wasn't doing another week of this. Alyssa wandered into the kitchen around noon, still in pajama shorts and a tank top, sunglasses on like she'd just come back from Coachella instead of sleeping off a hangover in my basement. I poured my coffee and said it. "We need to talk," she blinked. "About?" "About this arrangement, about boundaries, about you respecting my space, and about moving toward some kind of exit plan." I didn't yell. I didn't even raise my voice. I had rehearsed this in my head for days, trying to find the version of the truth that wouldn't sound cruel. But Alyssa's entire body changed the moment she realized I wasn't asking her what kind of oat milk to buy. She scoffed. "Wow, you really just woke up with that energy today, huh?" "No, I've had it for months. I've just been swallowing it." She crossed her arms. "I didn't know you hated having me here so much." "I don't hate you. I hate how you act like this is your house. I pay for everything. I do all the upkeep. You live here like it's a reality show and I'm just the off-screen producer." "Oh my God, you're being so dramatic." That's when I snapped. Not loud, not even angry. Just done. "I want you to start looking for somewhere else to stay. Not immediately, but soon." She was quiet for a second. Then, "Fine, I'll just call Mom." I almost laughed. "Of course you will." And she did. Within 5 minutes, she had my mom on speaker, voice loud enough for the neighbors to hear. "She just came at me out of nowhere," Alyssa said, her voice cracking. "Like I'm some kind of burden. I thought I was family." I stood in the corner like a ghost while my mother's voice poured through the phone. "Sweetheart, she's just stressed. You know how she is. She always bottles things up and then explodes. Don't take it personally." Then my mom asked to speak to me. I took the phone, said hello, braced for empathy. Instead, she said, "I don't know why you're so upset. Alyssa's just trying to get her life back together. You were never this hard on yourself when you were figuring things out." "I never lived in someone else's basement," I said. "And I never let strangers into their kitchen without asking." "She's going through a hard time." "I'm always going through a hard time. I just don't dump it on anyone else." She sighed, that disappointed mom sigh that's designed to shut you up without saying a word. "You've always been the strong one. Try to show a little grace." And that was it. My feelings, my house, my bills, none of it mattered, because I was the strong one, the stable one, the one expected to carry it all without complaint. Alyssa looked at me smugly after the call ended. "Feel better now?" I walked to my room, closed the door, and booked a therapy intake session that night, because clearly this wasn't going to fix itself. Hi, Reddit. Throw away because I'm not ready for my real account to see this. My younger sister has been living in my basement for 5 months. She moved in after losing her job, again, and couldn't afford her rent. My parents guilted me into letting her stay, and I agreed because I had the space and I thought it would be temporary. But now, she acts like she owns the place. She doesn't clean, she eats my groceries, she brings friends over without asking, And she spends her days pretending she's some kind of lifestyle influencer while I work full-time to keep the lights on. I've tried to talk to her. Last week I told her I wanted her to start planning to move out, and she literally called our mom on speakerphone to make me look like the bad guy. My mom sided with her, said I should show grace, because I'm the strong one. I'm exhausted. I'm bitter. And I'm starting to feel like the only way to have peace in my own home is to burn every bridge I have. Am I being cruel for setting a move-out deadline? Or am I finally doing what I should have done years ago? I hit post and walked away. This time I didn't hover. Didn't doubt myself. I just let the internet have it. By the next morning, there were over 1,000 comments. Top comment: "You're not her sister, you're her safety net and punching bag. Set the boundary and don't feel guilty about it." Another: "Your parents don't see you because you've made yourself easy to ignore." That ends now. You're not cruel. You're reclaiming your space. Someone else said, "Grace isn't a one-way street. Tell them they can house her if they're so worried." I read every single reply like a lifeline. People validated feelings I'd buried for decades. Strangers saw me in a way my own family never had. Some shared similar stories. One woman said her sister lived with her for 2 years and nearly cost her a relationship. Another talked about how the strong sibling always gets the short end because we can handle it. But that doesn't mean we should. I cried. Again. Not from sadness, from relief. Cam texted me that night. Cam. Reddit finally saying what I've been yelling at you for years. Cam. About damn time you snapped. In the best way. Even people in DMs thanked me for posting. I hadn't expected that. I didn't post it for attention. I posted it because I was starting to doubt my own reality. But reading those replies, I realized I wasn't crazy. I wasn't cruel. I was just done. I knew then that I had to follow through. No more half conversations. No more guilt shielding my sister from consequences. It was time to set a real deadline. Out loud. On paper if I had to. And if my family didn't like it, well, they could write their own Reddit post. It started with an inbox notification, then 5, then 37. By the end of the day, I had over 100 Reddit DMs, most of them strangers offering support. A few trolls, of course. But one message stopped me cold. From you, just another cafe. I think I used to work with your sister. If her name is Alyssa, last name, and she was at Cafe Ole in Baton Rouge. Message me. I hesitated. My heart actually raced. I clicked the profile. Nothing weird, just a regular user. I replied, "Yeah, that was her." The message came back fast. "I don't want to start drama, but you should know. She didn't get fired from that job. She quit after getting caught stealing from the register. Management let her leave quietly because her mom made a scene and threatened legal action. She told us you were some crazy control freak who made her anxious." I sat still for a long time. Then I texted Cam. Me. She lied. About the job. About why she moved here. Cam. You surprised? Me. No. But I needed to see it. You know? Because that's the thing. I wanted to believe she was just a mess. Not malicious. Just floating through life without a clue. But this was intentional. She torched her job, weaponized our mom, then painted me as the villain to cover her tracks. I was the fallback plan in a story I didn't even know she was telling. The next morning I logged into Facebook and found my mom had posted again. Another photo of Alyssa outside my house, this time with the caption, "So proud of my girl for taking chances and rising from setbacks. Everyone deserves a second chance. A second chance." Like she hadn't already used up 7. And then something I never expected happened. A friend of mine, Monique, who works in local radio, DM'd me. Monique. Girl. Is that your sister everyone's talking about on Reddit? I didn't answer right away. She sent a link. My post had been screenshotted and posted to Twitter by one of those internet drama accounts. It already had 14,000 likes. The quote tweet said, "Older sister lets golden child live in her basement. Family acts like she should be grateful. I want a movie." I wanted to puke and laugh and cry all at once. I didn't even use Alyssa's real name. But New Orleans isn't that big. And suddenly people were piecing things together. Some of her old co-workers were commenting on the Twitter thread. The cafe incident came up. People shared their own stories of being the responsible sibling. It hit me then. This wasn't just my story anymore. It was bigger. It was resonating. But with that came risk, exposure, the possibility Alyssa would find out. And when she did, well, I already knew it was going to explode. But for once, I wasn't scared of the fallout. I was just ready to be free. I waited until Sunday. I don't know why. Maybe because it felt like a clean break. End of the week. End of the silence. Alyssa was in the kitchen making one of her green smoothies, blending so loud I could hear it in my bedroom. I walked out with a printed letter in hand. 2 copies. One for her. One for me. I placed it on the counter. "What's this?" she asked, pulling out her earbuds. "A move-out notice," I said calmly. "You have 4 weeks." She stared at it like I'd dropped a dead animal in front of her. "You're evicting me?" "No," I said. "I'm giving you a deadline. You can stay for the next 4 weeks rent-free, but after that, I need my space back. You've had 5 months. That's generous." She started laughing. That hollow, mocking laugh she does when she's spiraling. "You really think you're the victim in this? Wow, just wow." I said nothing. "I needed help. You don't even understand what I've been through. You didn't tell me what you were going through. You told me what made you look good." She opened her mouth to fire back, but I cut her off. "I know about the job, the theft, the cafe." Her face froze. "Reddit," I said. "It went viral. People recognized you." She stood completely still. I thought she might cry, or scream, or run. Instead, she whispered, "You ruined my life." "No, Alyssa, you wrecked your life. I just stopped letting you do it in mine." She left the kitchen, slammed the basement door. I didn't follow. A few hours later, the text started. First from Mom. "Mom, what did you say to Alyssa? She's in tears. You need to apologize." Then more aggressively, "Mom, she was relying on you. Family helps family. You're being selfish." And finally, the guilt nuke. "Mom, I don't even recognize you anymore. You've changed." I read them, didn't reply. Just screenshot everyone and sent them to Cam. "Me, tell me I'm not the asshole." "Cam, you're the only sane one in this story." "Cam, tell them they can come get her bags if they care that much." The next morning, I left the house early, got myself breakfast, walked around Audubon Park with my phone off. I watched the ducks, listened to the wind in the trees, breathed in that humid, heavy New Orleans air like it was the first full breath I'd taken in years. When I got home, the house was quiet. Alyssa wasn't gone yet, but the mood had shifted, and so had I. She's gone. It took a couple days past the deadline. A few passive-aggressive silences. One last shouty phone call from my mom. "I hope you're happy now. She has nowhere to go." But she left. No tearful goodbye, no hug. Just a slammed car door and the sound of her peeling out of the driveway in a car that, ironically, I helped her get years ago. I didn't cry. I didn't feel triumphant either. Just light. Like I'd been carrying invisible weight my whole life, and finally dropped it without realizing how heavy it was. I lit a candle that night, ate takeout on the couch, watched a show no one else liked but me. I walked through my house barefoot, and felt the wood floors under my skin like I was finally standing in a place that belonged to me. I've been replaying every moment of the last few months, the Facebook posts, the Reddit threads, the glitter in the bathroom, and I keep thinking, how did I let it go this far? The answer is, I was raised to. I was raised to be the strong one, the one who doesn't ask for help, the one who swallows hurt and calls it maturity. And when I stopped doing that, when I drew a line, my family didn't recognize me anymore. But I do. I don't know what my relationship with Alyssa will look like going forward. I don't know if my parents will ever understand, but I'm not going to shrink myself anymore just to keep the illusion alive. I own this house. I own my life. And for the first time, I feel like I own my story too. Thanks for listening, Reddit. You helped me more than you'll ever know. The next morning, I opened the blinds and let sunlight pour in. I changed the locks that afternoon, not out of spite, out of peace. Cam came over that night. He brought wine and a dumb board game we used to play in college. We didn't talk about Alyssa, or Reddit, or the comments section. We just laughed. And when he left, he looked at me and said, "You finally look like you live here." And I do. Not just in this house, in my life. If you like these stories and videos, make sure to like, comment, and share so we can make some money from ad revenue and continue getting better and better with our publications. We strive to donate a portion of everything we make to charities that make a difference. Let us know if there is someone or thing you want to support. Thank you for staying until the end and enjoying the story.